Imagine being 7 years old, happily walking through a grocery store without a worry in the world, only to look down and see your own face on a milk carton with words, "Missing child" above it. For Bonnie Loman, this was not just a story, it was her shocking reality. In a moment, her life changed completely when she saw this strange discovery. What started as a normal day revealed a dark secret she had been living and changed her life forever. Bonnie's childhood was filled with hidden things and quiet talks that she didn't understand. She was born into a broken family and spent her early years moving between faraway places like Hawaii and the Pacific island of Saipan. Her mother and stepfather kept her away from schools, neighbors, and other kids. By the time her family settled in Colorado, Bonnie was 7 and finally got to enjoy a normal life, playing with neighbors, exploring her surroundings, and even going on errands with her stepfather. One fateful day, Bonnie joined her stepfather on a routine grocery trip. As she wandered through the aisles, captivated by the bright lights and cheerful music, something unusual caught her eye in the dairy section. A missing child ad plastered on the side of a milk carton. The face on the carton looked strangely familiar. Bonnie stared at it, transfixed, before realizing with a jolt that the little girl staring back was herself. Unaware of what the words "missing child" meant, she had never been taught to read. Bonnie felt only a burst of excitement. She turned to her stepfather, pointed at the image, and asked if she could keep it. Alarmed but trying to remain calm, her stepfather agreed to buy the milk carton. However, he imposed one strict condition. She was never to mention the image to anyone, let alone show it around. For Bonnie, the moment was thrilling. She thought she was on the carton because she was special or famous, completely oblivious to the grave implications of being labeled a missing child. But for her stepfather, it was a chilling reminder of the secret they had been hiding for years. Bonnie's confusion deepened when police officers descended on her home shortly after the grocery trip. The neighbor who had discovered the cutout photograph from the milk carton had alerted authorities, and the truth came crashing down. Bonnie was the missing child from the ad. Her stepfather was arrested, and Bonnie was thrust into a whirlwind of chaos. The people she had called Mom and Dad were not her legal guardians. They had kidnapped her at the age of 3 during a bitter custodial dispute. Bonnie's biological father, who had spent years searching for her, was finally reunited with his daughter, but the reunion was far from the joyous moment one might imagine. For Bonnie, her father was a stranger, and the life she had known was built on lies. She had been raised in isolation, shielded from the world, and taught to distrust outsiders. The transition to a new life with her father was fraught with emotional turmoil. Bonnie's story was extraordinary, but it was far from unique. During the 1970s and 1980s, high-profile child abductions, like the disappearances of Eaton Patz and Johnny Gosch, shocked the nation, exposing a glaring lack of infrastructure to address missing children cases. At the time, there was no centralized database for missing children, and law enforcement agencies often worked in silos. Once a child was taken across state lines, the chances of recovery dwindled. In response to this crisis, grassroots efforts like the Milk Carton campaign emerged. The idea was simple yet ingenious. Print photos and details of missing children on milk cartons, which were ubiquitous in American households. The campaign, spearheaded by dairies in the Midwest, quickly gained traction. By 1985, hundreds of dairy companies nationwide were participating, and the faces of missing children became a common sight in grocery stores and kitchens. Bonnie's father, desperate to find his daughter, had pushed to have her face included in the campaign. Though non-custodial abductions like Bonnie's were often overlooked by law enforcement, the Milk Carton campaign offered a glimmer of hope. It was a nationwide call to action. Keep your eyes open. If you see something, say something. The Milk Carton campaign was groundbreaking, but it was not without its flaws. Critics argued that the constant exposure to missing child images desensitized the public and fueled unnecessary fear of stranger danger, despite statistics showing that most abductions involve family members. Racial bias was another issue. While children of color made up a significant portion of missing children's cases, the faces on milk cartons were predominantly white. Moreover, the campaign's success rate was modest. Only a fraction of the children featured on milk cartons were ever found. High-profile cases like Eaton Pat's and Johnny Gosh remained unsolved for decades, leaving families in agonizing limbo. Yet, for all its imperfections, the campaign did lead to some success stories, Bonnie among them. Her discovery underscored the power of public awareness and the possibility that everyday people could make a difference. For Bonnie, the aftermath of her rescue was a tumultuous journey of adjustment and healing. Reunited with her biological father, she struggled to reconcile her love for the mother who had raised her with the reality of her abduction. The transition to a more structured life, attending school, making friends, and learning to read was overwhelming. Bonnie had spent her formative years in isolation, and the sudden shift to a normal childhood was both liberating and disorienting. Professional counselors and social workers played a crucial role in helping Bonnie navigate her trauma. Over time, she began to understand the broader context of her story, the pain her father had endured, the legal battle that had torn her family apart, and the societal changes her case had helped catalyze. Though the scars of her past remained, Bonnie found resilience and a sense of hope for the future. By the late 1980s, the milk carton campaign began to fade. Shifts in the dairy industry, the rise of plastic jugs, and the advent of digital technology rendered the campaign obsolete. In its place emerged more efficient systems like the Amber Alert, which leveraged real-time communication to mobilize communities in the critical hours after a child's disappearance. Despite its short lifespan, the milk carton campaign left an indelible mark on American society. It highlighted the urgent need for coordinated efforts to address missing children cases and paved the way for landmark legislation like the Missing Children's Assistance Act of 1984. The campaign also laid the groundwork for organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, which continues to play a vital role in protecting children today. Bonnie's story is a strong reminder of how important public awareness is and the hope of bringing lost children back to their families. It shows us that every effort to raise awareness, whether through milk cartons, social media, or community watch, can truly make a difference. Bonnie's case illustrates that just one moment of recognition can break years of silence and help reunite a lost child with their loved ones. Her remarkable rescue is not just a personal victory. It reflects society's shared commitment to protecting those who are most vulnerable. Her story highlights the need for vigilance, the strength of public awareness, and the resilience of the human spirit. Although the milk carton campaign may seem outdated, its impact continues in today's systems that aim to keep children safe. What would you do if you saw a missing child in your community? Bonnie's story encourages us to stay alert, care, and take action, because sometimes even the smallest act of recognition can change a life forever. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your loved ones, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.